Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Adobe Photoshop to create worn and torn text that looks something like this. You can choose whichever words you want. Here is fracture, explode, and shatter. Let's go ahead and get started. File, New. I'm going to go for Web, Large, and title this Worn Text, and then create. Next, I'm going to make the background black. So edit, fill, and change the contents to black. Now, I'm going to get the text tool and confirm that my color is white. If not, go down here and change this to white. Now I'm going to click in the middle-ish of the canvas and write my word. I'll do fracture again. And I've chosen to type in all caps, and I've used a really bold font. So to change the font, highlight, click and drag to highlight the text, and then you can either change it from this menu here, or you can go over here to Properties and change it under the Character menu. The font that I chose is called Eris Bold ITC, but you might not have that font loaded onto your computer, so you might have to choose a different one. Next, I'm going to click the check mark now that I have my selections made, and I'm going to use the keyboard shortcuts Control or Command T to get the transform tool. I'm going to hold down Shift on the keyboard and drag this to fit my canvas. So I think that looks pretty good, and check mark. Now I'm going to convert this from a text layer to a image layer. To do that, I'm going to right click on the text over here in the layers panel and go to rasterize type. So this is no longer type, it's now an image. The next thing that I'm going to do is create that torn effect. I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool, which you'll notice that the keyboard shortcut is L. So I am going to click and drag to make a jagged line across my text on the top. And when I get to the end, I have to click and go around the top and touch the beginning point and the end point. Then V on the keyboard switches to the selection tool. Click on the white part and drag up. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. So L on the keyboard to get the lasso tool back. And let's go ahead and add some fragments to the bottom part. So this is the tearing effect. And go around the outside and touch the beginning point and the end point. Switch to the selection tool, which is V on the keyboard. Click on the white part and drag. Okay, now you can go back and take a couple of smaller chunks out of a few of the letters, but don't get too crazy. So maybe I'll just do a couple to fragment this up. And maybe one more, so we have some internal fractures here. Okay, don't want to do overkill. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is add a texture to this. So I'm going to go to Edit, Place Embedded, and let's see. I downloaded these earlier. I'm going to choose, this time I'll use 10, and Place. Then holding down Shift on the keyboard, I'm just going to stretch this out until it fits my image. Something kind of like that. Click the check mark, and I will go to Layer, Create Clipping Mask, and that will put the texture inside the letters. Now I'm going to give it some torn effects, worn and torn. So back down to the text layer or the word layer, click on that, and hold down Control or Command on the keyboard and click right on this box, this rectangle, and you'll notice that a selection appears around the letters. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add a layer mask to this by going down here and clicking on the layer mask icon. Next, I'm going to go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and I chose under brush strokes. I thought spatter looked good, and I also thought sprayed strokes looks pretty good, but you can choose one that you like. Anything that gives it this kind of worn edges. So I'll go ahead and stay with sprayed strokes, and of course you can move, adjust these to affect the intensity. So I'll click OK. And now I'm going to go down here to the FX button and choose Stroke. So for my stroke, instead of having it on color, I'm going to change it to gradient. And then I get my choice of all of these different gradients here. So you can go ahead and click on these and choose one that you like. And if there aren't the colors that you like, you can choose one that's close. And then you can click right here on this gradient colored area, and you'll get the picker. So let's say perhaps I wanted to add a darker value to this. So I can adjust it like this. And I can also adjust the size. I don't want it to be too thick that it covers the texture. So for my project, I'm going to say a size 3 looks good. And I will click OK. And that is this project finished. Have fun, everyone.